In exactly 100 years, you will no longer exist. And yet, absolutely nothing of what makes you you will disappear. Right at this very moment, you're convinced you are a solid, single, permanent entity. But the truth is, you're a rented apartment building. Your body is made up of 7 billion atoms, a number so immense that the human brain can't even visualize it. And when your heart beats for the last time, not a single one of these atoms will die. In fact, for them, it will be just the beginning of a new spectacular adventure. Stop for a second. Look at your skin. It seems to be your age, right? 20, 40, 60 years old. It's a colossal lie. The hydrogen atoms alone are about 13 billion years old. The carbon, oxygen, and iron atoms formed later inside stars or during supernovas, hundreds of millions to billions of years ago. They were born in the heart of supermassive stars that exploded eons ago. You are not your age. You are as ancient as the universe itself. And material this old cannot be destroyed by a trivial cardiac arrest. It can only be set free. The most shocking part is that your body already knows this process of death and rebirth. It's doing it right now. The rate of atomic turnover varies hugely depending on the tissue. Although many atoms are replaced, a significant portion, like the DNA in your neurons, the proteins in your eye lenses, and the minerals in your teeth, stays with you for your entire life. You eat, breathe, sweat, shed skin. The oxygen in your lungs today was in the Pacific Ocean a month ago. You are not a marble statue. You are a fountain. The shape remains the same, but the water flowing through it changes constantly. Death is simply the moment the water stops flowing in, but keeps flowing out. So what happens at minute zero? When the oxygen stops arriving, your cells panic. Without energy to maintain order, internal barriers collapse. A process called autolysis begins. Lysosomes, which are the microscopic stomachs of your cells, rupture. Their acidic enzymes spill out and start digesting the cell itself from the inside. This process is called autolysis, but it's not a programmed chemical suicide. Programmed cell death is apoptosis, which happens while you're alive. Post-mortem autolysis is a passive process of degradation. Your complex molecules, built with decades of effort, are dismantled into their basic building blocks. The padlocks snap open. But now these billions of atoms face two completely different paths. First path, cremation. Philosophically, it might seem like a definitive end, but from a physics standpoint, it's just an accelerated oxidation reaction. At 1,000 degrees Celsius, heat is a jackhammer destroying molecular bonds. Water, which makes up 65% of your body, evaporates instantly, returning to atmospheric vapor. The water molecules violently evaporate, breaking free from the tissues and rising upward. You have just become a cloud. But the real show involves carbon. You have about 18 kilograms of it in your body, enough to make the lead for 9,000 pencils. At 1,000 degrees, this carbon binds with the oxygen in the air, transforming into carbon dioxide. The human body's carbon, roughly 12 to 18 kilograms, produces about 44 to 66 kilograms of carbon dioxide. The figure of 240 kilograms refers to the total carbon footprint of the process, including the burning of the necessary natural gas. It's the exact equivalent of the emissions from a flight from Roma to Londra. Your carbon atoms exit the chimney and enter the great highway of global winds. Within a few weeks, they will literally be scattered across the entire planet. And the ashes left in the urn? That's not you. Or rather, they aren't the essence of your biology. They are heavy minerals. The calcium from your bones, the phosphorus, materials that not even 1,000 degrees can vaporize. When your relatives look at that urn, they aren't looking at your energy. They are only looking at the incombustible scaffolding that held the miracle together. The living part of you, the carbon, the hydrogen, the oxygen, that's already out the window. It's already flying. But this was just level one of the journey. What happens next is even harder to believe. Imagine one of your carbon atoms fresh out of the chimney. It travels for miles, pushed by thermal currents. Then, in a forest on the other side of the continent, an oak leaf opens its microscopic stomata to breathe. Your atom enters, Photosynthesis captures it, takes it apart, and uses it to build a sugar molecule. You were a human being. Now you are the lifeblood of a centuries-old tree. But there's a second path, traditional burial. And here an army steps in that has been waiting for this moment your entire life. Trillions of bacteria live in your gut. As long as you're alive, your immune system keeps them at bay. But when you die, the gates open. The bacteria realize the guard is gone. They start consuming dead cells, multiplying wildly. They turn your proteins into ammonia, methane, and hydrogen sulfide. It's not a macabre end. It's a perfect ecological feast. As months pass, your body dissolves. Nutrient-rich fluids seep into the surrounding soil. And this is where you meet the vastest, most intelligent structure on the planet, the mycelial network, a giant web of underground fungi connecting the roots of the vast majority of plants, about 0.1 to 90%. These microscopic filaments absorb your nitrogen and phosphorus atoms. They funnel them into their high-speed underground highways. They are literally distributing your remains to the entire forest ecosystem. Meanwhile, your hydrogen and oxygen atoms filter down, deeper and deeper, until they reach the aquifers. They enter the water cycle. Although the total mass of hydrogen and oxygen is constant, water molecules are continually created and destroyed by chemical processes. The molecules that made up your tears or your blood now mix with underground rivers. They prepare to spring from a source, to evaporate in the sun, to rain down on a distant city. You are literally becoming the climate of your planet. And you aren't the first to make this journey. To understand the scale of this remix, think about this. Every single glass of water you drink today almost certainly contains atoms that were once part of the water drunk by a Tyrannosaurus rex. Atoms have no memory. They don't know they were a dinosaur, or Julio Cesare, or you. They are just weary travelers, constantly changing trains. Let's jump forward. 1,000 years have passed since your last breath. Where did your atoms end up? The volatile ones, like water and carbon dioxide, have scattered across the globe, but the minerals have stayed close to where you rest. Some are trapped in the ice of Antarctica. Others form the shell of a beetle in the Amazon. Many float in the upper atmosphere. But the most staggering thing is something else. Statistically, in 1,000 years, every single human being alive on Earth will carry inside them at least one atom that once belonged to you. Physics tells us that this recycling is an irrefutable, measurable fact. Philosophically, this opens dizzying questions about identity. If your pieces are used to build other lives, what makes you unique? These remain open questions, but here is what we know for sure. Your uniqueness isn't in the bricks, but in the architecture. You are not the carbon or the oxygen. You are the temporary, wonderful, unrepeatable information that for a brief moment held those elements together in a dance called life. The vast majority of your atoms were here before the Earth existed, but not all of them, and they will be here when the sun burns out and the planets turn to dust. You are not an inhabitant of the universe. You are the universe that, for a fleeting moment, learned how to think. This is Unseenium, where we make the invisible architecture of reality visible. Subscribe to keep exploring the incredible architecture of reality.